followed by the national anthem. Thanks.
Prepare to post colors. Post colors. Recover. Present arms.
See by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Next, a land acknowledgement this evening by Mr. Brad Perry of the Northwestern Band of the Shoshone Nation.
Haganusunga Unhanjas. How are you, my friends? It is good to be here at the what we used to call the Ditchy Bagani, or the home of the bad water. Still could probably use that today. I am honored to be here. I'm accompanied by our spiritual leader and tribal elder, Rios Pacheco. We are grateful to be members of the Northwestern Band of the Shoshone Nation and part of the community. When we think about land acknowledgement, a lot of my friends talk to me about how this is a new thing, and it's not. Let me tell you about the first land acknowledgement that I ever heard of. My great-great-grandfather was Chief Segwich Timbimbu. Chief Segwich survived the Bear River Massacre. When Brigham Young came into the valley in 1847, essentially when history starts for the Utah, for the state, Segwich and a group of people came up and introduced themselves to the prophet and to all of his counselors that were with him. Segwich told him, "Welcome to our land. You can stay, and let me say this, there are going to be other tribes that come to you and say, this is our land. It is not. This is the country of the Northwestern Band of the Shoshone Nation." And indeed, several tribes did come and talk with Brigham Young about that. However, we stayed and bandaged the feet of those pioneers and gave them moccasins, and were able to work with them. And we've had a pretty decent relationship ever since. We do acknowledge the Goshutes, the Utes, the Navajo, and the Paiutes. and their nations and recognized that this was a crossroads because of the salt and the fresh water of the Jordan River. You could walk from Echo all the way to California in our old Indian trails. I am actually a resident of Salt Lake City, and so it's my honor to be here. After the pioneers had established themselves, the name of the city changed. It was called Socani, or many houses. And I thought, I asked our spiritual leader, is that because of all the buildings and homes? He said, no, we would come up here and watch Brigham Young stay at one house one night, and then another house the other night, and then another house the other night. We hadn't been introduced to polygamy just yet. So they wondered why one man needed so many houses. But as in that time, you are here today on the land of the Northwestern Band of Shoshone Nation. We are pleased to work together. We are pleased to be here. We want to be able to bandage the feet of those who need it, because this is a great place to visit. This is a great place to live. We want to be part of the community. We want you to be part of the community and respect our views on the stewardship of the land and, most importantly, the Great Salt Lake. Thank you so much for having us.
Welcome, Mr. Dee Brewer, Executive Director of the Downtown Alliance.
Welcome to downtown Salt Lake City. Downtown is for everyone. It is the regional center for culture, for commerce, and for entertainment. It's the home of the Utah Symphony, the Utah Opera, Plan B Theater, Ballet West, Utah Museum of Contemporary Art, Ryrie Woodbury, RDT, SB Dance, and more than 30 other arts organizations. And of course, it's the home of the Utah Jazz. And I wore my jazz socks to make that point. The investments that we have made as a community have made these institutions and facilities a wonderful place to unite. They allow us to commune, to laugh, to cry, and to cheer. And arts, culture, and sports entertainment are also major drivers in our economy. This gorgeous Eccles Theater is a perfect example, a partnership of the city and the county. Last year, Eccles performances delighted 315,000 people at 275 performances. And as great fun as that was, these Eccles visitors also spent more than $13 million at local shops, restaurants, and bars last year. The downtown social economy is thriving. And the opportunities to build on this momentum are multiplying with active efforts to secure the Winter Olympic Games, Major League Baseball, and National League hockey teams. We'll hear more about that from Mayor Mendenhall. Many of us here were in attendance at the 2020 State of the City address at Meadowlark Elementary. Erin Mendenhall was just a few days into her first term as mayor. She celebrated Salt Lake City's diversity, and she shared her vision for uniting all of our neighborhoods. Little did we know that massive disruptions to our community and country were just a few weeks away. A pandemic, a social reckoning on race and on policing, an earthquake and an inland hurricane. Our community was challenged, our social institutions were challenged, our relationships with each other were challenged, and our daily routines were upended. Fears escalated. It was in these early crises that I first saw Mayor Mendenhall's leadership and her capacity for compromise, for negotiation, and decision-making. She demonstrated a high tolerance for uncomfortable conversations. And in my experience, in fact, she seeks out these conversations. She actively gathers perspective from across the political spectrum before formulating a plan. Mayor Mendenhall listens. She has a sincere desire to understand people and their experiences. She acknowledges the passionate opinions of her constituents. She's assertively hopeful about our capacity to find a path that works. I appreciate that Mayor Mendenhall leads with humanity and warmth, but make no mistake, she is one of the first ones in the room to grasp the cold, hard facts of a situation, an issue, and use those facts to expand everyone's understanding. If you're listening tonight, if you're here tonight, I presume you care about the future of Salt Lake City. We have varied interests, and we may disagree on the priority of the opportunities and challenges before us. I believe we're fortunate to have a mayor that is fundamentally interested in what we care about. Mayor, thank you for representing Salt Lake City constituents and reconciling our varied interests. Count me among those supporting your inclusive efforts to find our best path forward. It is my honor to introduce the 36th Mayor of Salt Lake City, Aaron Mendenhall.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Dee. That was lovely. I love you all for being here. Thank you. Thank you for caring so deeply about our city as I do. And I am so honored to serve once again as your mayor. And I couldn't be more optimistic about the path that we are on as Salt Lakers. I want to thank our city council. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for working so collaboratively. I want to thank our state leaders, including Wayne Niederhauser. Thank you to Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson, who's here tonight. Thank you, Superintendent Liz Grant from the school district, who's here tonight. Many elected officials. And I want to thank members of our incredible Salt Lake City 2034 Olympic and Paralympic Games Committee. Thank you for being here, Fraser. Thank you, TK. Thank you, Kat Rainey. Thank you. Amy Redford, trustee with the Sundance Institute, thank you for being here tonight, and so many other esteemed guests. Thank you for your thoughtful partnership in service to our communities, to our environment, and to our future. And thank you to our hosts here at this beautiful Eccles Theater and our friends at the 10 Angel Cafe, where somehow we are all going to eat there after this tonight. I am thrilled to be here with you at one of the city's most celebrated entertainment destinations, right here in the heart of our downtown. Not only because I'm excited to do the State of the City tonight, our 5th one in this administration, but I'm also excited for the lineup of shows that are going to perform here this year. But most of all, for what this space and this street right outside means for the future of our entire city. There is a strong likelihood that 10 years from tonight, we will be in the throes of welcoming the world through the doors of the Salt Lake City International Airport for the 2034 Winter Olympic and Paralympic Games. In so many ways, hosting the 2002 Winter Olympic and Paralympic Games was the catalyst for the trajectory we're at and find ourselves on today. Our growth continues, our economy is strong, and in this city, we care for and love one another more today than ever before. Nothing is going to change that. Downtown Salt Lake City, there's a lot of love tonight. We're going to get it in. Downtown Salt Lake City will be the epicenter of the Olympics once again, and Main Street will be a vital component to our success before, during, and after the Games for decades. If downtown is the pulse, then our city is the heart of Utah and the Intermountain West. This is our legacy. This is our future. It's a future that's built not solely for the success of one global event, but for those of us who live here every day. This morning, scientists at Myriad Genetics in Salt Lake City's Jordan Meadows neighborhood were working on testing that will help people learn more about their health markers, including cancer, so they can seek and avoid a missed or a late diagnosis. In Sugar House, 2 young women opened the doors to A La Mode, a clothing boutique that welcomes women of all sizes with a motto of be yourself, love yourself, treat yourself. In the Granary District, Matt Sturbins and his crew at Wander Alpine are building incredible lightweight skis and snowboards from bioalgae. And here on Main Street, just a few blocks south of this theater, Mary Daniels opened Lilies of the Field thrift shop, where she gives away so many of her items for free to unsheltered individuals and people who are having a tough time. And 2 blocks east of here, my friend Omar Jamhour opened his second business in the neighborhood, the Block Barbershop. Think about the customer who got a fresh haircut today and a renewed sense of confidence for an upcoming job interview. Now say that customer of Omar's gets the job, and it leads to a career and starting a family. And 10 years from today, that customer brings his son to that same barber for a fresh cut of his own before the Olympics begin in his neighborhood. From North Point to 9th and 9th and Marmalade to Glendale, Liberty Wells to Capitol Hill, Salt Lake City is full of life. We're thriving and we're innovating. Our people show us that we can achieve anything we set our hearts and minds to, because Salt Lakers are creative and hardworking, adamant to chart a path forward to success. We approach our greatest challenges, and we've had many, and our boundless opportunities with partnership and ambition at the center of everything that we do. The decisions that are being made today by our large and small businesses and by our city government will have vast ripple effects on our future. Our momentum is only growing in reach and intensity. We're setting the stage right now, not just for tomorrow, but for the next 10 years, 20 years, and even 50 years. The state of this city is strong. It is unwavering. It is undaunted. And when I think about what makes cities great, the best cities, the cities that I like to go discover and enjoy, I think of cities that are built for all generations. They're built for families to play and connect outside after dinner. They're built for our aging neighbors and for all abilities. They're built for young professionals, creators, and students, and they're timeless and innovative all at once. Salt Lake City is a world-class city, pursuing every opportunity that forges equity, sustainability, and avenues of success for families, individuals, and all of our neighbors. An earlier generation of Salt Lake City business owners, planners, and residents dreamed of ideas that would, and I quote, recapture for downtown its rightful position as heart of the metropolitan area, designed to meet the needs of people. They called this the Second Century Plan. That was 62 years ago. It's high time that we make major strides in achieving some of these goals. In the midst of the pandemic, we began breathing life into this people-focused, family-focused vision of canopied streets, activities, tree planting, and expanded infrastructure that will forever orient our downtown toward pedestrians, from growing families to empty nesters eager to be in the heart of it all. It's my administration's aim that in the next 4 years, we'll lay a foundation for the next 50, where the hopes poured into the Second Century Plan and tested right here over 38 weekends in the last 4 years and realized in great cities across the globe will come to fruition here on Main Street. Salt Lakers have come together. We've imagined and explored exciting possibilities for the future of downtown. A future that draws in people and elevates our businesses and generates more excitement and pride in Salt Lake City. The way we've connected here in the past 4 years through Open Streets revealed extraordinary social and economic benefits. Open Streets brought in more than 1.2 million visitors from 2020 to 2023, and they spent an estimated $53 million over 116 days of activation. Businesses that participated in open streets from 2020 to 2022 reported a 19% increase in revenue during the activation periods, and it was confirmed by our city tax data. And even this past fall, as sales tax revenues softened, open streets cushioned the income of participating businesses. The pop-ups, explorations, and trial runs have worked, and now we are ready to achieve even more together, championing the aims of the Second Century Plan that, quote, will be fully oriented to the pedestrian. It will be inviting, easy to reach, and easy to circulate within. Salt Lake City will have added lure for visitors, and the downtown of Utah's capital city will be the pride of every Utahn. At this historic junction in Salt Lake City's history, we have an opportunity to shepherd some of the greatest investments in our future and quality of life that we have seen in decades. That's why tonight I announced the next steps towards something long visioned in our city, a Main Street pedestrian promenade that will be the epicenter of activity downtown right outside of these doors. Of the more than 2,500 people who were surveyed this past fall about potential designs, 85% chose options that would reduce car traffic on Main Street from South Temple to 4th South. That's a clear mandate, and we are listening. Next month, my administration will submit comprehensive study results to our City Council, along with a conceptual design to show what's possible and how much it will cost. We're getting a sneak peek of it tonight. I look forward to a robust discussion with our council and a forthcoming budget proposal that can get this done. We're building a catalytic future for downtown that not only embraces our growth, but seizes the opportunity to cement our identity as the center for sports, entertainment, and culture in our state. The future we are building together is deliberate, it's intentional, and it positions our city for even greater success. While other urban centers are losing their population, Salt Lake City continues to defy trends, outpacing state growth. Our residential population downtown is expected to double from 2020 to this time next year. We continue to make gains in our housing supply and build opportunities to ensure families and individuals can live, work, and play in downtown. We're building more than multifamily projects and single units. We are building community. And as Salt Lakers, we take pride in our homegrown heritage, but let's acknowledge that one of the best flagships in our community moved here from out of state. The Utah Jazz is celebrating 50 years of NBA basketball this year, and 45 of those years have been in downtown Salt Lake City. Tonight, we reaffirm our commitment to keeping the Utah Jazz in downtown Salt Lake City. Let me be clear. Let me be clear. What is best for the state of Utah is that the team plays and stays in downtown Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City serves as the center of commerce, transportation, finance, law, sports, entertainment, faith, and culture in the Mountain West. And if this city suffers, the region suffers. The future of Major League Sports entertainment is about offering fans a full experience before, during, and after the game. That broadened guest experience creates a hive of activity surrounding the arena. It's an entertainment district. This is not only possible in our downtown, but it is requisite for us to evolve our public spaces to meet our future potential. A space like this would make possible an Olympic medals plaza that isn't torn down to a parking lot again after the closing ceremonies. It will level up our convention opportunities for our friends at Visit Salt Lake to recruit even bigger conventions. And it creates Utah's epicenter for sport, art, and entertainment 365 days and nights every year. The potential to welcome both Major League Baseball and the National Hockey League to our city is incredibly exciting and a great fit. It amplifies our city's values and vision of expanding sports and entertainment experiences that further connect our residents and visitors across all generations and identities. We will work with our beloved Utah Jazz organization, with the Larry H. Miller Company, with downtown stakeholders, county and state leaders, and anyone who has aspirations of bringing professional sports to make this future a reality. As more people and businesses call Salt Lake City home, and as more visitors fill our streets for work, shopping, dining, conferences, pro sports, and world-class outdoor adventures, it is critical that we expand our green space and places in the city that center people, all generations in our community. The Green Loop is a proposal as bold as Salt Lakers. While my administration won't see the opening of the Green Loop, we will lay the foundation and spur the momentum for this transformational project. As you can imagine, converting 132-foot wide right-of-ways into multi-block pedestrian-centered space is far from a walk in the park. But the extraordinary benefits to our community, to our economy, and to our quality of life are well worth it. I'm talking about a once-in-a-generation opportunity to encircle our downtown core with incredible open spaces. But this isn't just about a place for us to play. This is about economic growth. There are few things more economically attractive in a downtown core than transit access and park proximity. It's rare for cities to get the opportunity to do something so transformative. And yet when they do, it becomes an iconic part of every great American city. The High Line in New York, Millennium Park in Chicago, the Beltline in Atlanta, and many others. The Green Loop will be distinctly Salt Lake, but it will also cement our place in the world as a truly great city. This linear park network will reconstruct 5.5 miles of downtown streets into places for every generation to come together and play, walk, shop, picnic, and relax. And what's more, when we unlock the connections the Green Loop will make, its reach opens up a second link into our west side. It's more than the downtown opportunity, it is a west side opportunity as well. I am determined to see the Green Loop move forward and become one of our most celebrated features in Salt Lake City. My administration will utilize every tool and partnership to ensure this community benefit improves our livability, our economy, and our environment for decades. And it is my vision that it will be ready to welcome the world 10 years from tonight for the Olympic Games. And in no uncertain terms, this will not take away from our already established priorities, nor divert our focus from the challenges that we face today. In fact, ambitions like this are absolutely tied to the mandate that we better address the needs of our unhoused residents, from housing and mental health care to public safety and human dignity. Not only must we do this and continue to successfully rally the state, other cities and counties to this work, but our ability to meet these growing needs will be supported by the economic growth our downtown investments create. Put plainly, solving our greatest challenges is inextricably linked to our ability to realize our greatest potential. Both need committed partners from the state and business community. Both require a strong and growing economy to fund change and progress. And both are the right thing to do for the people of Salt Lake City. While a thriving downtown matters to everyone, it is my priority to strengthen activation and create opportunities across the entire city, in every neighborhood. Last year, we broke ground on the city's first new regional park in over 65 years, and it's happening on our west side, finally. It's happening where so many young families are building their lives. They're raising their children, walking their dogs, And when phase 1 of Glendale Park is completed in this coming year, it will bring us closer to a complete transformation from an old water park site to a beautiful, accessible community space that will better serve all of our families and neighbors. In phase 1 of Glendale Park, residents will enjoy an all ages, all abilities playground with adaptive play structures, a basketball court, a large pavilion plaza, and a promenade for community events. Phase 2 will build on the community's vision, and it will include a pool. That's a big deal, folks. The West Side wants a pool. They're getting a pool. While we redevelop this space, we're also moving full steam ahead in 2024 to create a new shared vision in another neighborhood. Last year, we kicked off Ballpark Next, and we saw some truly inspiring submissions reimagining the possibilities of our Smith's Ballpark site. We celebrated 9 exceptional contest finalists, coupled with the tremendous partnership of the Larry H. and Gail Miller Family Foundation to spearhead a $100 million legacy fund to help improve outcomes in the neighborhood. Since then, we've gathered community input, bringing in more than 350 comments from the neighborhood. Through this input, we've developed guiding principles, and they'll serve as the backbone of our land use strategies. And right now, we have an active request for proposals out in the field, seeking the right design team to bring these guiding principles to life. We are thrilled at the prospect of bringing Major League Baseball to Salt Lake City. And I just say baseball, and you guys light up. If on this path toward getting a permanent team, we get to keep our beloved Bees at Smith's Ballpark for a few more years, we will be ready to catch that curveball, and we'll make a stellar play out of it. But this will not hold up the vision of what's to come next for Ballpark. Recognizing current market conditions, we would take advantage of that time to build on our shared vision that aligns with and activates the people and the local businesses that make up the Ballpark neighborhood and their distinct identity. There's so much positive momentum and generational opportunities arising from our intentional action and our strength in partnership. We have reached a 7-year low in crime through the hard work and strategies of our police department, but we know we're not without our challenges. As a local government, it's an important part of our job that the success we're experiencing serve all Salt Lakers equally. And we know that systemic barriers, both past and present, have limited access to services and opportunities, disproportionately impacting our marginalized communities. Salt Lake City's commitment to building a more equitable future remains steadfast, despite outside attempts to undermine the city's efforts. We know we are stronger because of our diversity and because we aim to create a more equitable and accessible future. We will always choose to champion opportunities that lift our diverse voices in this city. This city chooses bridges, not barriers. We choose inclusion and not isolation. I support and I defend efforts aimed at diversity, equity, and inclusion, no matter what the political whiplash these efforts may be forced to endure. We will not stop this critical work in Salt Lake City. It is the right thing to do for our neighbors, for our families, for you. I want to recognize Salt Lake City's diversity, equity, and inclusion team tonight. Please give them some love for making Salt Lake City a more inclusive and welcoming. Please stay standing to our DEI team who's here tonight. We love you. As we grow as a city, we know the number of people who are most vulnerable is also growing. We desperately need and we must have year-round shelter options for everyone, and we need ongoing funding from the state to make it happen. Salt Lake City is doing our part, and we will continue to, but we cannot do this work alone. The most recent statewide data tells this story. In the 2022 point-in-time count, Salt Lake County saw 80 new individuals experiencing homelessness for the first time. This is a fraction of what they saw in the Mountain Land region and the statewide count. 90% of the increase in people experiencing homelessness for the first time in 2022 came from outside of Salt Lake County. 90%. I remain hopeful that the legislature will adopt Governor Cox's budget proposal that supports comprehensive efforts to alleviate and prevent homelessness, including proposed funding for mental and behavioral health services and emergency shelters. If it's greenlit by the legislature, his proposal would provide support for 2 non-congregate shelters, 2 low-barrier shelters, funding for a statewide winter shelter response, $30 million for deeply affordable housing, and $8 million to address the state's shortage of behavioral health professionals and services. We know the emergency shelter system must increase capacity to meet immediate needs. There should always be enough shelter and housing options for every Utahn experiencing unsheltered homelessness. As long as there is shelter space available, we can continue to address on-street camping while offering everyone a space indoors with compassion and urgency. Because of the strong partnership between the state, Salt Lake City, Salt Lake County, service providers, the philanthropic community, and other cities, more than 600 extra beds are available this winter to provide warm, humane conditions. The state has the authority, they have the power, and they have the funding to continue this progress and generate transformational change. If we are to maintain and build upon the progress we've seen this winter, the state must move beyond one-time funding that only gets us through the next 3 years. If we want to move the needle, we have to advance longer-term strategies and adequately fund them with ongoing dollars to succeed. Salt Lake City has and will continue to do our part in the state's homeless service system to support unsheltered individuals' access to services and housing. We've expanded community-based resources, including our Downtown Ambassadors program. We helped pilot a temporary micro-shelter community in Salt Lake City in partnership with the state, a first-of-its-kind model that will inform the state's long-term site. We're financially supporting a critical medically vulnerable persons program, which opened its doors in Sandy last week. This work is so urgent, and it's only possible by working with our partners. We need to divert people from our criminal justice system who are experiencing serious mental illness and substance use disorders and provide treatment and supportive housing. This is largely a county and state function, but its impact will be felt on our city's justice court, on our city's streets, and in our parks. The governor's proposed budget adds support to this effort, and we look to support Salt Lake County in determining new funding options that can expand permanent supportive housing and services so people can get the treatment they need. This approach is not only the most humane, but it saves taxpayer money. Addressing homelessness at its heart begins with affordable housing options and resource for our unsheltered residents. And as my friend Joseph Grenny says, homelessness is a catastrophic loss of community. Ongoing investment in affordable housing is the foundation of decreasing homelessness and increasing the quality of life for all people in Salt Lake City. It will take years to catch up with our current housing needs. So making a consistent investment is so critical to prevent future homelessness and allow the emergency shelter system to operate as it was designed. As with our challenges related to homelessness, the city is tackling affordability and continuing an outsized investment in all types of housing, including affordable and multifamily projects. Investing in our future, in our families, and in all generations of Salt Lakers so they can call this wonderful place home continues to be a top priority for me. Community and our families are central to the identity of Salt Lake City, and they're worth fighting for. In the last 4 years, we have made historic investments in affordable housing, with more than 4,000 new affordable units built or funded. And in 2023 alone, 605 affordable units were completed, in part thanks to nearly $22 million in redevelopment agency funding. 605 units in 1 year. This isn't just a number. To me and to hundreds of families and individuals, the Astor, the Paper Box Lofts, Colony B, City Lofts, Richmond Flats, these are tangible and attainable housing. These are hundreds of homes that didn't exist before. In the next year, more than $38 million in city funding will be brought into play to construct new or purchase existing affordable units and support future housing projects. We are leading the state in multifamily project development, and we're taking every opportunity to generate more affordable units across the city. These historic investments and our work to eliminate barriers through city policy will spur even greater affordable development in our neighborhoods. We're doing this by executing our Housing SLC plan. And over the next 5 years, we'll be implementing the strategies outlined in Thriving in Place. That's the city's plan to combat displacement and gentrification. What does this look like in action? Well, this year, a new program will launch to financially assist Salt Lakers who've been displaced due to demolition, redevelopment, or substantial renovations, and help them relocate within the city. Renters can also expect the city to provide a new service this year in the form of a tenant resource navigation center. And things will keep moving along at the Other Side Village, where they have a clear path to deliver tiny homes as quickly as they can. Investing in necessary infrastructure is also a part of our evolution. It's an opportunity to improve our quality of life and safety, but the road to get there through construction's notorious and often annoying orange cones can be a test of one's patience, we'll just put it that way. Especially if your name is Bill Knowles. I want to thank Bill Knowles, my good friend here. He is our prime navigator through the trickiest construction projects and helps our business community. If you feel like you have been plagued by more orange cones than in the decade prior, you are right. It's true. They're part of the city's 2018 voter-approved bond that we said yes to improve street conditions that had been put off since the 2008 recession. So a decade's worth of work and reconstruction projects have been packed into 5 years, and they have to be completed by 2025 when all of that funding expires. In 2023, the city completed more than a dozen major roadway and local streets projects, including 3rd West, 9th South, 2nd South, Phase 1 of Highland Drive, and Phase 1 of 11th East. We are approaching the last remaining street reconstruction project from that bond, including 21st South in Sugar House. I know, hang in there. I can feel you bracing yourselves. We're all just going to breathe in and out. With every project that we do, we learn more. And it's important to me that we bring those lessons with us. Residents, especially those who live and work in the heart of downtown Sugar House, should expect more outreach, more communication, and more community-driven efforts to support the businesses throughout the reconstruction project. When completed, Sugar House will no longer be a snarl of bumpy roads. It will be a safer and more beautiful place to be for everyone, including pedestrians and cyclists, so we can access some of our city's most beloved institutions. Yes, we are building. We're building a lot. Roads, bridges, housing, shelters, parks, promenades, and more. But I'm going to tell you tonight what the number one thing is that I want my administration to build. Families back into the downtown. I want kids, grandparents, parents, every day. A great downtown is home to all ages at all stages. The reality is that in any growing city in this nation, if the city government isn't deeply involved in making sure families can thrive, they are being built out. Even if our ambition merely maintain the current level of access that families have today to living in our downtown, we could call that a success. But I know we can do better than that. Everything I've talked about tonight will bring benefits to our families, but we're going to do more. More childcare, more family-sized housing, and more places for families to play. We'll also bring more support from the city to find and connect with these resources. So this year, I'm directing our economic development team to create a loan program like the one we saw in Pittsburgh last year that's designed to sustain and stimulate the growth of new and existing childcare businesses. Right now, our City Council has received a proposal to adjust our current zoning codes to remove barriers that exist for childcare businesses to happen in this city. I'm directing our redevelopment agency and our community and neighborhoods department to find ways to bring family opportunities into full focus on city-owned properties that we will develop along the Green Loop, including the Fleet Block, the old Public Safety Building, Station Center, and more. I'm directing our public lands team to find micro park opportunities right here downtown, where families living in this neighborhood can easily and safely play. And I will be asking our business community to imagine their own investment coupled with ours along the Green Loop to build the kind of amenities that kids and parents and grandparents and visitors alike will want to enjoy time and time again. Building families back into our city is something every one of us should rally around. The improvements I've talked about are important because we are raising generations across Salt Lake City. And these generations, these kids training to be future Olympians, to be teachers, young adults who are building their life science careers, they'll be first responders, they'll be inventors. Our generation of elders who continue to shape the direction of this city through their work and their service on our boards and commissions. All of our futures are inextricably intertwined with the well-being of our environment. The actions we take in the next 4 years will set the course not only for the next 10 years, but for the next 50 when it comes to the prioritizing of our water and our air quality. Earlier this month, the state's Great Salt Lake Strike Team released a report and an initial strategy to more effectively protect the lake. It said that, quote, any strategy for returning the lake to a healthier range will be challenging. And while we have seen substantial improvements in conditions over the last year, lake levels remain well below healthy levels. Our namesake deserves and demands meaningful action. And as a city, we've elected to annually commit 13 billion gallons of reuse water to the Great Salt Lake, and we will finalize our reuse application this year. In 2023, Salt Lake City Public Utilities customers saved enough water to fill more than 1,500 Olympic-sized swimming pools compared to the 3-year average of use. But our city's conservation story didn't begin last year. For decades, Salt Lakers have voluntarily risen to the challenge and explored more ways to save water in their homes. We're armed now with more data and insight than ever before, and our brilliant public utilities team is moving the needle and providing essential services to our communities, which we all witnessed during last year's spring runoff season. But we have the capacity to conserve even more. This year, I challenged Salt Lakers to focus on improving their water conservation in late summer and early fall. The city's Water Maps tool that we released last year shows us there's still room to improve our conservation efforts. I've asked, and I keep asking residents to prioritize water conservation, but it's equally important that our city works to conserve water wherever possible. So tonight, I'm excited to tell you that we have completed our top-to-bottom review of water use in city-owned facilities. We will release the report in the coming days, and we've identified areas where the city can do better. by implementing best practices indoors at our top 20 water user sites alone. Salt Lake City will save at least 5 million gallons of water every year. What's more, the city team has identified and already begun implementing some of these cost and water-saving steps, like replacing 29 faucet aerators and 13 flush valve toilets at our own city and county building, and maintenance on the library's cooling tower that will improve efficiency. These are not flashy steps. I saw some of your eyes glaze over. But I'm telling you, faucets and toilets, every drop adds up, and it makes a difference, just like in your homes and offices. We're also taking steps outdoors on city-owned land. After launching the SLC turf trade program and offering low-water grass seed to residents, the city is finding ways to transition our own landscapes to lower water uses. Also, in collaboration with our partners at Utah State University, we're expanding a turf grass study on our golf courses to identify low-water grasses that we can use there. We can all do better. What we learn as we track savings and we make changes is helping us influence other cities in the state to do the same. We're also making strides in reducing air pollution. The city is also making strides to reduce air pollution with cleaner vehicles and clean energy. And thanks to Rocky Mountain Power, we have been busy installing more electric vehicle charging infrastructure on the west side, at Day Riverside Library, at our regional athletic complex, at Rosewood Park, and Riverside Park, to name a few. And there are more charging stations planned for Glendale Park. I'm excited to see more EV-ready parking spots at future multifamily projects, thanks to an update our City Council recently approved with our city's off-street parking ordinance. I hope the City Council will further support my administration's vision for air quality programs, which we announced in our most recent budget amendment. Since that time, staff have been busy creating and mapping these new programs, and Clean Air SLC will kick off in 2024. Because I know Salt Lakers are eagerly awaiting our new e-bike program and landscape equipment exchange program. So ready your helmets and prepare your countdown for early summer, because it's coming. Plus, the city will pilot an indoor air quality program to get out high efficiency HVAC filters and other tools to improve air quality inside residents' homes that need it the most. In the past 4 years, I've approached every aspect of city business with an unwavering commitment to partnership. And in the next 4 years, these efforts will level up. We are stronger when we come together, working collectively to solve our greatest challenges and shape our most exciting possibilities. We remain determined in our work to build a mighty path for this great city. A path forward that is taking us to new opportunities and strengthening our quality of life with every step we take. A path that has been carefully composed piece by piece, ensuring that community, equity, and connectivity are at the center of everything we do and everything we aspire to achieve. A path that ensures confidence in our economy and encourages innovation, creativity, and the ability for everyone to succeed. A path that emboldens the stewardship of the Great Salt Lake and nourishes environmental quality because our existence depends on it. A path that is catalytic, driving excitement and energy in our communities about our legacy and our gold medal future as a sports, entertainment, and cultural powerhouse. I am animated by our legacy and these generational opportunities for Salt Lake City. These opportunities are accelerating toward us at a great speed. And as we embrace this future and welcome more neighbors today, tomorrow, and in the next 10 years when we host the Winter Games, I know that we will be proud of the decisions we have made. We're going to be proud of the partnerships that we have built. And we'll be proud of the initiative we took to ensure Salt Lake City thrives for another century. Thank you for doing this work with us, and good night.